Wednesdays on Twitch. Yeah, I already said Twitch once. I'm really bad at intros. People should write these or something if they really want me to do them. But anyway, up next, we got Dustin's Vinyl with two people that's not Dustin. Here they are, Jeffrey Paul and Anthony Kapfer.
Dustin would say, welcome to Dustin's Vinyl. Like Jay said, neither one of us are Dustin, but Anthony, that sounded really good, man.
Oh, thanks. One of the strings is a little out of tune. It would have sounded
Whatever
better.
It was, whether the string was out of tune or not, it still sounded good, and that should be a little foreshadowing of something that we're going to talk about a little later on in the show. In the meanwhile, how are you, Anthony? How was your week?
Oh, it's pretty good. Been doing some in-person shows a little bit more this week.
And now, are you back in Denver or are you still out in LA?
Back in Denver now, but I'll be back in LA next week, next Wednesday, at the Terragram Ballroom.
Where you going to be?
The Terragram Ballroom.
All right, listen, LA folks, go out and see Anthony, man. He's a very, very funny dude. And, he'll play his guitar, but it'll be completely tuned. Is Dustin going to be
beforehand?
Is Dustin going to be out there?
I don't know. I think I talked to him about this second LA trip, and I think he's in Vegas.
Yes.
For at least some of it.
See, that's the key. You shouldn't have told him you're going out to LA.
Because he booked the show immediately.
Of course. He's like, I don't care. I'll pay to get on the trip, but I will not be in LA. Anthony, I would have loved to, brother. But I don't know why I made him sound like Hulk Hogan. I would have loved to, brother. Know what we have to do?
What do we have to do?
We have to shout out Adam. Today is Adam's birthday.
It is?
Yeah, he's 75, and so it's a very special birthday for him. And Anthony comes home from LA. Adam is coming home from LA as well.
Wow.
See, Adam is a true. Yeah, he was supposed to be on the show with us, but you know how great and how efficient the airlines are these days, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very.
I think Adam is experiencing like a 9-hour delay on his coming back from LA to New York. So he's probably in flight as we're speaking. But if you listen to this at some point, Adam, we wish you a happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. Spending it on a layover or whatever.
That's the perfect way to spend a birthday. But okay, so we got a couple of things to talk about this week. Let's talk a little bit of comedy, and this is a hard one to talk about. Let's talk about Norm Mcdonald, who we got the news yesterday that Norm passed away. I was a huge Norm fan. How about yourself, Ant?
Oh yeah, huge since he was on SNL. He was my favorite Weekend Update anchor by far.
He was phenomenal as an anchor. I liked him. I thought Chevy Chase did a good job with the update. I thought Kevin Nealon was good.
Kevin Nealon was great too. He was the one I grew up with, as a little kid. And then Norm was, I thought, when did he start? I was like junior high, I think, by then. So, he was kind of perfect.
Yeah, Norm was like, man, he was an original. This is Dustin's Vinyl. We talk music and albums, and there are two albums. Let's discuss a little bit with Norm. In 2006, he had an album out called Ridiculous. I don't know if you know these bits, but I wrote down some bits that really always stood out to me. He did a bit called the Fantastic Four, where they're talking about the naming of the Fantastic Four is superheroes.
Yeah, superheroes.
Right. So we had the flame guy who was a flame who turns into fire. Then the rock guy who was the Thing. right? And then Norm's guy was Mr. Fantastic. And then the other members like, hold on a second. I'm just a flame, the thing, and you're Mr. Fantastic. Do you think we could change the names around? He's like, no, that's it. It's I'm Mr. Fantastic. I thought that was a brilliant bit. He also did another one, the world's first gay guys. Did you ever hear that one?
I don't know this bit. Mm-mm.
It's two guys having sex for the first time. Yeah. You can imagine what this would be. He also did one where about Superman called Stan and Lois and gambling sportscaster.
Okay.
This guy puts money, but he doesn't, on a quarterback. And then the quarterback comes into exposure with someone who has like this very contagious flu. And then at halftime, winds up getting the flu and having temperature, and he's losing all this money on it. And he's talking it up. It's a great bit, but they're not stand up. It's him doing these recorded bits, like sketches, but on record.
Oh, so that one's not live.
No bits. These are actually like sketches, kind of like. Do you remember or did you listen to Cheech and Chong?
Oh yeah, I had some of the. I had Cheech and Chong's greatest hit on CD.
Speaking of them,
nice.
Someone actually gave this to me last Christmas.
It's an autograph right?
picture.
Nice.
Yeah, Cheech and
yeah.
Chong.
Up in Smoke was a great movie.
Great movie. But so Ridiculous is kind of that. It's recorded bits where he's doing. So it's
so there's skits
again along the lines of a Cheech and Chong. So it came out in 2006, and then 10 years ago, 10 short years ago, goes by so quick. He had an album out called Me Doing Stand Up, and
yes, this one I'm familiar with. I saw the special and.
Right.
Yeah, that one's great.
Like some like the ones that stand, there's so many that stand out to me, but some like, let's see, Best Disease Ever, where, he's talking about somebody, they're comparing diseases, and one guy has bowel cancer, and he's talking about the horrors and pains of bowel cancer, and he's going into detail. And they're like, what's your disease? Alcoholism. And what are the symptoms? I get happy. And then sometimes I find someone who has the same disease and we fuck. That was Norm, man. He was awesome. How about, Ed, do you remember the bit Couldn't Be Prouder?
No, I don't know this one.
This one was, he was talking about like, this old guy, McCluskey, and he's talking, and everyone's talking about their son. And, because he said he was at a gay pride rally. And he said it was kind of weird. He saw like parents holding up signs that say, I'm proud of my gay son. He's like, I can understand, but proud, is that the right word to do? Proud? And then he starts like describing, it's like, oh, my son, let me come around, guys. Let me explain my son. He's just graduated at the top of his class. And he was just offered this great job. And, oh, by the way, he just got a bonus as well. Oh, and by the way, he loves cock. Oh, the kid can't get enough of it. Did you ever remember that bit?
No, I don't remember that bit, actually.
Oh, fuck, man. It is so funny. It's like Norm's voice and his cadence and the way he delivered a line. It was just really, really good, man. He is someone who is going to be missed. And anyone who's listening to this show, if you get the opportunity, these are two comedy albums, absolutely 100% worth definitely picking up.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I loved his when he did the roast of Bob Saget.
Oh, I heard he murdered on it, right?
I don't know if I've laughed harder since I saw that on TV. It was because it was total anti-humor. stuff like he's
explain what you mean by anti-humor for someone who may not get that reference.
Well, it was supposed to sort of be intentionally lame jokes for this roast, like kind of classic old old style materials. So stuff like later on, if you need to use the bathroom, you'll see a door that says "Gentlemen, pay no heed. Go right in." There is no door that says "Scoundrel" or something like that. There's no door with "Scoundrel" on it, I think is what he says.
It's like you don't even have to deliver it good. You could just understand the premise, and it's funny.
Well, it's his delivery. Nobody can really deliver it like him either. Half of it. It's almost like if anybody was similar with delivery, it was Letterman or is Letterman. Like when both of them are telling a joke that they know is not great, they have kind of similar. Their facial expressions are just like the acknowledgement of like, this is bad, but I'm gonna sell it. And they both can. They both were masters at that.
And he was such a great guest on Letterman as well.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch SNL and when he did his Letterman impression?
Oh my God. I forgot about that. Was the way like, you got any gum?
Yeah, yes. I've been doing that all the last 24 hours. I've been doing that. Like no one gets that. No one saw it. I'm so glad you referenced that. Oh
man, that was exactly what Letterman was like at that time too. This guy comes up to me, he goes, "You got any gum?"
and then I think it was either Mark McKinney or Chris Kattan was playing Paul Schaefer because they both did it, and then he'd be like, "Gum, yeah, gum," and then Norm as Letterman go, "Yeah, that's right, gum." Folks,
I
gotta watch that.
Oh man, he did a few sketches like that. I forgot what was the other. It wasn't gum every time. I don't know. Oh, the other one. I said Arliss. Just kept saying, remember that TV show Arliss?
Yeah, the Arliss. Do you like the Arliss, Paul? yeah.
Arliss.
and then he just started laughing.
Yeah. I forgot about this Letterman. It was amazing.
It was. And then he did a subtle thing at the end where like when the show would be over, like, the fake Letterman show, he would just get up and drop the jacket and walk off, which is what Letterman did. Oh yeah. He was perfect. That's so good. And he will be missed. And, comedy, we've lost a bunch of great ones recently. And this one, I don't know, man. For me, it stunk. I don't know about you. I didn't see it coming. Did you know he was sick?
No, I had no idea he was sick. This is like almost like when David Bowie died and nobody even knew he was sick.
Yeah, right. Like all of a sudden, like I'd heard like rumblings of him being sick, and then he just went so quickly.
I heard nothing. Yeah, I heard no rumblings of anything.
Yeah, I think part of that had to do because he had come out with what was it called, Black Star?
Black Star?
Yeah, the last album and the last video, and it was kind of like a precursor, like it was kind of like in the early '90s when Freddie did like the last album, the last Queen album, Innuendo, and he they did a video for These Are the Days of Our Lives.
Oh,
and it was just kind of like a.
For some reason, you said Black Star, and I'm thinking Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I know the David Bowie Black Star. Yeah,
right.
I don't know. So I was like, I don't know that Norm Macdonald album, Black Star. No.
So yes. So with Bowie, that was kind of like a little bit of a foreshadowing. Like it's kind of like that was just like.
Well, but that music video where he's in the hospital bed that came out like 2 days before he died.
Right.
So it was sort of some foreshadowing, very briefly. It was like the video came out on a Friday and then he died on a Sunday. So it was like still pretty shocking.
And I remember waking up on Monday And like how you get all your information, you go on social media first to look to see your messages, and then everybody is posting a rest in peace David Bowie, pictures of David Bowie, and you're like, this isn't going to be good. That was like 2016 when you had all those huge celebrity music deaths.
Yeah, that one was rough too. Bowie and Prince and yeah.
And did you like the Glenn Fry?
I mean, no. I have nothing against Glenn Fry. Was he in the Eagles?
Yeah, he was in the Eagles. That's one of your favorite bands. We never really properly got a chance to talk about the merits of the Hotel California album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, underrated, I think. Completely
very underrated. It doesn't get enough FM airplay. But let's talk about something that does get enough FM airplay. So what we were doing this month in September is we were doing our high school album. It's back to September, back to school month. People are back in school now. And we were talking about not necessarily our favorite album of all time, not necessarily the best of anything, but just like an album that brings you back to high school. And this one was a little surprising that you feel. First of all, introduce it. This is your album, so why don't you talk a little bit about it?
We're talking about the third Foo Fighters album, There's Nothing Left to Lose. So you have stuff you wanted to, I don't have to do like a whole thing off the top, but
no, I'll talk a little bit about it. You were in high school in 99?
Yeah, I started high school in 98. I was a freshman. So this album came out when I was a sophomore in high school.
And when did you go to high school?
So freshman year, I was in Staten Island at Moore Catholic High School, which you
went to Moore Catholic High School?
Or somewhat. For 1 year, I did, yeah.
I used to be a teacher at Moore Catholic High School.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you? Probably not when I was there.
I was at. What year did you say you were there?
98.
Dude, I missed you by 1 year. I missed you by 1 year. I was not only was I a teacher, I was also a dean, and then I coached the football team. Man. Yeah, but wow.
Well, you wouldn't have seen me with anything having to do with football over there, but yeah, the dean. I remember the dean was always on my case because I always was trying to grow my hair long, and you couldn't grow your hair long.
Hurricane, right?
Private school.
Do you remember? Yes. It was yeah.
I mean, I completely forgot that name until just now when you said it. But yes, that was
Wow, that's crazy.
Always on my case. I would always because they would check to see when you were walking in the hallways if it was like over your collar, and I was always hunched over with my head like forward, so my hair didn't look too long.
For those following me, that it was a Catholic school on Staten Island, and Anthony went to the school. Holy crap! And where'd you go after that?
Then I went to a school in Brooklyn called Brooklyn Studio, which at the time. When I transferred, they didn't have seniors yet. It was such a new school that I guess they were like easing the kids in. So it went up to junior year. And then the year after that, then there were seniors. So I was like the second graduating class.
Was it a performing arts school?
They were supposed to have like TV studio equipment, which I think they had technically. But no, they didn't have anywhere to set it up. So they just had this equipment like in the office. So no one nobody got to use any of it. But it was like, so the school is in Bensonhurst, and that is where my cousin lived. And that's where all of our friends lived. So we started playing music together. And so when I moved to that neighborhood, then we were like, we were able to do band rehearsals every day, and we started playing shows and stuff. So it was a very welcomed transition,
So this album comes out in 99. So you're a sophomore in high school. And Interestingly enough, I didn't know this until I just looked it up. I thought Taylor Hawkins was with the band from its inception. This is the first album he's with the band.
Yeah. I saw them. I never saw them live with the original drummer. But yeah, Taylor joined the band for the tour for this, for The Color and the Shape. So right after they put it out, he joined the band and he toured for that album. And I saw them a couple of times. I saw them with Pat Smear on that tour, and then later in the tour, Pat Smear left the band, and they had Franz Stahl, I think. He was in Scream, the 80s hardcore band Scream. That Dave Grohl was the drummer in for a bit. So he was playing guitar. But yeah, so this was, and I don't know if you know this, but even though this is the first album that Taylor Hawkins was in the band for, he doesn't play drums on all the songs.
On this album, There's Nothing Left to Lose.
Dave Grohl plays on some of the songs. What's that?
Oh, Grohl plays?
He plays on some of the songs, and it's kind of interesting because there's no definitive answer to who plays on what songs, except it has been confirmed that Dave Grohl plays drums on Learn to Fly. And Taylor Hawkins has said in interviews that he played drums on Aurora. And he sort of said that he played on kind of the softer songs, and he kind of let Dave Grohl handle a lot of the more hard rockin' songs, just because he wasn't as comfortable in the studio at that time. Because he was just coming off of that tour with Alanis Morissette, and then touring with. That's
right. He was in Alanis Morissette's band.
But he didn't play on any of the albums. So he did the Alanis Morissette tour without playing on the album. He did the Foo Fighters tour without having played on that album. And then now he's in the studio with Dave Grohl, who in 1999 was still, people remembered him. They remembered him as the drummer from Nirvana more than they remembered him as the guy from the Foo Fighters. So a little bit of more intimidating at that time to be in a band with him.
Oh, absolutely. The funny thing is with Taylor Hawkins, he's so identifiable with Foo Fighters, it's like Dave Grohl, and then okay, the other guy with the long blonde hair is Taylor Hawkins, and he's so prominent in the videos and everything, right?
Yeah.
But isn't Taylor Hawkins in the video for Everlong?
Yes. So he joined the band. Like I think he might even be in. He's in the video for Monkey Wrench too, I think.
Okay, but he didn't play on that album.
No, the Dave Grohl plays almost every single drum part. The first song "Doll" is William Goldsmith, the original drummer, and half of "Up in Arms" has him. A slow intro, and then so that's it. So he must have. I mean, he joined probably right before the album came out, because he did the whole tour. So he did all the videos. He did the tour. I mean, they would have had to prepare. They knew that this album was going to be big. They weren't going to. It's a very
different album of their from their first two albums, I think. Right? Yeah. Would you say that?
I would say all three are different from each other. The first one is Dave Grohl playing all the instruments. So that has a different sound. It's almost like a demo in a way. Like it's not as produced. Then The Color and the Shape is like this big kind of slick rock and roll, pop rock album.
The first.
No, and then the There's Nothing Left to Lose was they, whenever it's talked about, they always stress how it was like kind of the softer side or whatever. Like there's a handful of kind of slower songs on there, but even a lot of the slow ones have moments where they rock really hard. Like a song like Aurora at the end. It gets real loud, and the drum part that Taylor Hawkins is playing, it's like he's just destroying. I mean, it's like all these cool fills, and he's hitting hard and stuff. But this has so much melody, this album, which The Color and the Shape also had melody, but this was like they recorded it in Dave Grohl's home studio that he built. He like bought a house in Virginia and put a studio in the basement, and they were writing and recording at the same time. I think they didn't have much material going into the sessions, and they would do like barbecues after the sessions were over and stuff. So that like this is just kind of a feel good album where they wanted to kind of separate themselves from the rest of the, industry people and stuff, and just make like a fun album.
When I look at the evolution of Foo Fighters, and I went back and looked at the first album, and I remember the first song I ever heard from them was "This Is a Call."
Oh yeah,
and
great song.
And great song, right? Yeah, like a hard song. It's like, okay, this is the direction this band can go in. And then I think the second single was "I'll Stick Around."
Yeah, I'll stick around. It's kind of a hard riff. Something like that.
Yeah, right. So, and then "Big Me" was like another big one.
Oh, that's not in tune. I don't know what the chords are. It starts with that C.
Well, anyway. At times that still sounds good to me, man. I like it. And yeah, so that's the first. And then 2 years later, they came out with the album that you mentioned, "The Color and the Shape." And remember how hard Monkey Wrench was? Because I think that was the first single.
That was definitely the first single.
Yeah, that was such a great song. And then you had Everlong and "My Hero," which was such a cool song. And then this. And I read somewhere where Grohl said he wanted this to kind of be like their White Album. And I'm not quite sure what he means by that. I don't know if he wants us to be there. I'm not a huge...
Well, I have a feeling that because they split up the drumming duties, and because they didn't even have... So we're talking about Taylor Hawkins joining he's been in the band or whatever, but he doesn't play on all the songs. But they didn't have a second guitar player when they recorded this. So it was the three of them working on stuff, and Dave Grohl's playing like a lot of the instruments. And I have a feeling that maybe that kind of added to that White Album feeling, because, Paul McCartney's playing drums on some of those songs, and everybody's, it's like a bunch of solo albums, but mashed together.
Maybe that's what he meant by it.
Sort of contributed.
But when you look
plus
at
they all lived in the house together. They
lived,
while they were recording, they lived. Yeah. So that's they went to Virginia, not India, like the Beatles did with the White Album. But, they all left LA to go to Virginia and record this album in a house. So maybe just that vibe.
I think, listen, I'm not the biggest Foo Fighter fan in the world. It's not a band I dislike, but they're not like in my top 10 or probably even in my top 20 bands. But I like them. I like them. When you look at like from the 4 years earlier to what the first album was to what There's Nothing Left to Lose is, it's a big change in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's,
but it felt like there was that much of a change in between the first album and The Color and the Shape, and then that much of a change in between The Color and the Shape and There's Nothing Left to Lose. And that was one of the things I loved at that time. It's like, it's the third album. And at this time they were my favorite band, because so like Nirvana was the band that made me want to be a musician. And then I started playing music, but then now Nirvana doesn't exist anymore, and the Foo Fighters exist. So they kind of took that place for me. And so, my new favorite band, they keep putting out albums that sound so different and kind of experimental, but to me, it sounded like it made sense that it was, you know, the same basic. I mean, I guess the lineup had changed with every one of those albums, but you know, Dave Grohl was sort of it was his vision. So it was like, it made sense to me that it was the same band putting out all these albums, but I loved how different they were. That's part of the appeal to me.
Listen, this was a huge album. It wound up winning a Grammy for best rock album.
Best rock album?
Yeah. It won best rock album. And it's funny that everyone's going to make some type of analogy about Nirvana and Foo Fighters, but you know, the way you just put it, and if you take the first song off this album, Stacked Actors, okay?
Oh yeah. I don't know how to...
It's a really pretty cool opening song.
I don't know, something like that.
But I don't know. Does it remind? Because for me, it does. Does it remind you of a little bit of a Lithium type of vibe? You know, like the Nirvana song.
I could hear that. I didn't hear that at the time, but yeah, I guess I could. I mean, it's tuned different. They're in like drop A tuning or something.
I'm not saying it's a tribute to Nirvana, but it's just like, you know, I'm listening to it. I'm like, you know, I could feel the Nirvana Lithium influence in this one, and it is a departure from their previous two albums. Maybe you know better than I, because I don't. What actors is he talking about?
I don't know what actors, but I have heard like music journalists say that a lot of those lyrics are sort of attacking Courtney Love. And she was doing some acting at that time.
And she was a blonde, because there's a reference about two blonde actresses.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe he's talking about her, but maybe just an overall sentiment on Hollywood.
And then let's go down a little bit on the playlist on just like some of these songs. I like Breakout, which I think is the second song on it as well. Little bit more of a power punk feel here, right?
Yeah.
Anthony played it as if it was background dinner music. That would be like the coolest restaurant ever, by the way.
Huh?
That'd be like the coolest restaurant ever if you're playing like some Foo
I'm just like
background dinner music.
You're eating like some kind of pasta dish, and I'm playing acoustic Foo Fighters song.
And your salads will be out in 5 minutes. Enjoy the pasta.
It's interesting. These chords, those are the chords from Breakout, but they're also the chords from Dave Grohl wrote a song called Marigold, which was like, he recorded a demo while he was in Nirvana, but Nirvana actually recorded the song as a B-side for, I forget which song it was for, on In Utero.
Can you play? Can you show us a little bit?
Goes like that, and then Breakout goes like. So it's got all the same chords, just in a different order.
Okay, so it sounds familiar, but where is the variation in it? Like, what changes it? What makes it not the same song?
Well, it starts on a different chord. That's the other song, Marigold.
Like, this sounds a little more mellow.
Yeah, it's a slower song. But I just noticed right now while we were talking that it's the same chords. As we were doing the Nirvana Foo Fighter comparison, so that was.
I love anyway. that sounded great to me, man. That sounded really good. And then the huge single off this, which also sparked, I think, one of the best rock videos in like the last 20 some odd years, man. Learn to Fly. Oh, how much fun and great is that video?
The video is great with Tenacious D in there playing they're trying to sabotage the plane.
And how is Grohl not like an actor at this point in his career?
He did a lot of the videos for a Breakout. I think also had a funny video because that was on the soundtrack for Me, Myself, and Irene.
Was it? Wow.
And so the video was a little bit funny too. I can't remember exactly. It was something that they're at a drive-in movie, but Dave Grohl was doing a lot of he's doing a lot of comedy in the videos, and I am kind of surprised it didn't turn into something more. You know,
Yeah,
he didn't get bit parts in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. He's legit funny.
He's very funny. Yeah.
Like his faces are great. His timing is great. And, you know, it's
He did end up.
is not easy.
He did end up being in the Tenacious D movie playing the devil.
Did anybody see that movie? I didn't see it.
Well, that's another story. I love that movie, and the soundtrack is great. He plays drums on the soundtrack as well. So
of course he does.
Great.
You know, he plays on everything. He's in every band. The guy. You know what? I'm starting to have enough of Dave Grohl. I mean, he can play guitar great. He can play drums great. He wasn't in one like iconic band. He's in two iconic bands. He's a funny actor. From what I hear, he is like the nicest guy in the world. And he's cool. You know, it's like, you know, how much? You know what he is? He's the Tom Brady of music.
Oh.
It's like God has done enough for this guy. Now it's time to give somebody else a chance.
Oh man, yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I watched them when I watched on TV when they did Lollapalooza. I watched it on Hulu, and you know, they did this they played for 2 hours. They did all their hits, you know. It's like just this kind of career spanning set that they did. And it reminded me of when I saw them opening for the Rolling Stones in 97 or 98 or whatever it was, on the Color and the Shape tour. But they did part of the tour opening for the Rolling Stones. And it was just weird because I was there, you know, it's like I went to see the Foo Fighters, and the Rolling Stones I thought were great. They played 30 years worth of hits or whatever. And then now I'm not so young anymore watching on TV, and the Foo Fighters did 25, 26 years of their set was spanning 26 years or whatever. So I watched the Foo Fighters turn into the Rolling Stones.
It's sick. It's sick that the Foo Fighters are around over 20 years. I remember when they first came out, and you're like, "Oh, this band's even gonna stay together." I'm so curious to see what Dave Grohl is going to be like without Kurt Cobain. And I think in some cases, you can easily argue that Foo Fighters have surpassed, Nirvana. In
certain ways, maybe. I mean, albums sold, maybe. I don't remember if I'm sure they must have won a Grammy, but I think it's.
Well, they don't even give. I don't even think they give out rock album Grammys anymore. If it's not a hip hop or pop, the genre doesn't exist.
Yeah, but there's I don't know that as much as I loved the Foo Fighters at any point in my life, I don't think that they changed the course of rock music the way that Nirvana did when they came out. So that there's always that sort of argument.
Yeah, that's a different show.
But I'm sure they've sold more, because they've put out more albums as a band. They've and they've done huge festivals
been around
for
a lot longer.
More years. Yeah, they've had time to collect all the accolades. But
going back to this album, another interesting choice on that, because this album, for me, I didn't think there were any bad songs on it, to be honest with you. You know, like this is an album that was fairly easy to listen to all the way through and say, okay, I'm enjoying this. Different sounds, definitely different sounds, you know, on this. You know, everything had its own, you know, definitely had its own place on the track list. One that particularly stands out is Generator. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think you know where I'm going with this. This was Dave Grohl doing Peter Frampton Comes Alive, you know, doing the talk box.
That's the talk box from all the Frampton hits.
Frampton or Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh?
Yeah, in Rocky Mountain Way. Hmm. Do you know that song?
I'm sure that the first time I heard the voice box thing was Frampton.
Everyone.
I'm not sure.
Everyone knew Frampton. Rocky Mountain Way. Joe Walsh came out with it, I think, before. But Frampton, you know, popularized it. You know, with Do You Feel Like We Do? You know, and you know, Frampton Comes Alive because, you know, just. It was issued to people, obviously, you know, growing up. But what an interesting choice. And again, good song. And then Gimme Stitches. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's another song I find like really super catchy. Yeah, so there's a lot of good music on this.
Something like that.
That almost sounds a little bit like Psycho Killer, Talking Heads.
Yeah. But I love how experimental. I don't think they've ever experimented as much on an album after this. They were perfecting the kind of quiet, loud dynamic. You know, like the verses would be kind of soft and the choruses would be louder. But everything had there was so much melody everywhere, which I think is, you know, that they always talk about it as like the softer side or whatever, but it's just more melody. There's a lot of guitar, drums are hard, everything, you know, it rocks. Although I think it probably was a sort of intentional, it must have been a sort of intentional reaction to how popular nu metal was at that time. This is,
what do you mean?
90. Well,
like
I mean, it's almost like they're
nu metal.
It sounds like maybe they're intentionally going the other way with their music rather than trying to, you know, be like louder and noisier than nu metal bands.
So if we're talking,
because The Color and the Shape came out in 97, right? They end of 97. Before there's in the mainstream, you know, Korn and Limp Bizkit and Slipknot and stuff like that. But then this album comes out at the height of the popularity of that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, good call. I definitely see that. Let me ask you this. This is your album. Mm-hmm. What is it about this album that relates to high school with you?
Well, so I when this came out, so The Color, I almost picked The Color and the Shape, even though it came out before I was in high school, because that album it's just so good. And I mean, for most of high school, that was probably my favorite album of all time. And so when this one was coming out, I was anticipating it. I was looking forward to its release. And they did
where'd you buy it?
I bought it at, I think it was HMV. Is that what the place was called?
Was it like a box store that was in the mall?
It was a record store. It was like, you know, Tower Records or whatever. I think it was called HMV. But I got it there because if you bought it like at midnight when the album came out, then you were able to come to the in-store performance the next day or whatever day it was. And, you know, so I had the CD and then I went to the show and then they signed all the CDs afterwards. So I bought this and I got it signed and I was like all excited.
Wow.
To like meet them.
Do you still have it?
I have it somewhere. I don't have it here in this apartment, but I still have it somewhere. The CD came with a fake tattoo of the, because it's got Dave Grohl's
Right. Yeah.
Foo Fighter tattoo on the back of his neck. So it came with a little fake tattoo, and yeah, I have it signed somewhere.
How was the in-store performance?
I mean, I remember it being amazing. And I'm sure they were tight. They were playing in a house for months or whatever. So it was so cool just to see them in a space that small too. To like be as close to them as that, because that's not going to be your experience anymore. Seeing the Foo Fighters, you're never going to be like just a couple of yards from them.
There is nothing like seeing a great band as it's ascending or as they're like at their peak in a small place, like a private or a special performance like that. The only time, I'm not gonna say the only time, there's been a few times, but probably the most standout time for me was in New York City. Anthony, do you remember there was a place called the Palladium on 14th Street?
Yeah, but I don't think it was there by the time I was going to shows.
Yeah, because right now it's dorms for NYU, but the building's called Palladium. And it was kind of like a mid-level concert hall. And then when it stopped being a concert hall, it became kind of like almost like a dance club type of thing, where they would do performances. And I got invited to go see Prince, and I was like right there, like Prince was literally like, if I wanted to go out and grab his leg, I could have. It was such a small, intimate performance, and I think that was on the Around the World in a Day tour.
So when
was a fundraiser
for
something. I think that's the one with Raspberry Beret.
Oh, okay. So this is like 80s.
Yeah, this is going to be like late 80s. Late 80s, wow. Maybe early 90s, something like that, But oh man, that is insane. Before we go on to new music or new releases, Jay, are there any comments out there? Anybody have anything to say to me, Anthony, or do they hate us?
Well, I don't know. I don't even know if they agree with our choices or things we've said about it. But
I don't know if Jay is even here anymore.
He's here.
Yeah, you there?
But
all right. Well, at least we got
the spirit.
We can see what the tattoo looks like at least.
Wait. See, I told him you were here. I don't know. He was freaking out about it. Oh.
Okay. Also, we forgot to mention he also played Death on Family Guy.
Norm, yeah, he did. It was him, and then Adam Carolla also played Death.
Well, similar voices.
Yeah,
that nasally voice. Yeah. But just something funny about Norm Mcdonald being the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, he was great. God, he was one of my favorites. Just so good.
So good. Okay, so before we wrap up here, I just wanted to bring out some kind of interesting. Usually Adam talks about new music, and we missed this one because last week Adam was still in LA, and if anyone's watching, I think this week it's either going to be this week or next week they're debuting the new set for Entertainment Tonight.
Ooh,
Adam,
wow.
Yeah, Adam basically built that set. he's the one that designed it. He he put up the panels, and and we were lucky enough we have him with us on this show, and he produces my other dopey show. But he's also, Adam's also like a hardcore music guy, just like me, you and Dustin are. And so he usually talks about like the new music that's coming out. So the new release that people absolutely, you guys got to check out is, I'm so excited about this, is the new Iron Maiden, Genjitsu. It's, it has Eddie, the mascot, as a samurai holding the samurai sword. And it debuted on last week. Last week, and it came. This is Iron Maiden with this lineup has been putting out albums. Well, you got the first two, but with Bruce as the singer, came out in 1983 with Number of the Beast. This album in 2021, in September of 2021, is their highest debuted U.S. album. Came out number 3, not just on the rock music chart, because it's number 1 on the rock music, but overall on the total music chart, Iron Maiden Genjitsu is the number 3 album debut, the highest debuting album for Iron Maiden ever in the United States.
Wow. Well.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to tell you this, Anthony. It's a double album.
Oh, a double album.
There's that much music on it.
When was their last album before this?
Their last album before this was Carnival of Souls, and that's going to be, I'm going to say around 2016, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something in that.
They had enough time to write a double album, I feel like.
Well, this is what I think. We should be starting to expect. I think. I think
put out 3 albums since March 2020, so Iron Maiden needs to do some more writing.
Right. Yeah, the slackers. Yes, I think you'll probably start seeing a lot of new music, new releases as we get closer to Christmas. And a lot of that music was probably written during the lockdown when people have nothing to do. And I think you're going to start to see new releases from classic bands like Iron Maiden, like Priest. I think has a new album out as well, and they're on tour right now on their 50th year together as a band.
Crazy.
Great comment. Somebody wrote they had a pandemic. It should have been a triple album.
That's what I'm saying.
That's really funny. And
I put out 3 albums.
True.
I broke them up, but they could have done a triple album or 3 separate albums. Get with it. I'm working on my 4th since then. Right now.
Yeah, and I wrote 3.5 new minutes worth of material since March 2020.
Oh, well, that's something. You can put out a 3-minute. That's like a single. You can put out a comedy single. Out
a single. It's 3.5. But it's 3.5 minutes I'm proud of. Yeah, it's a good 3.5 minutes.
Changing.
What was it? I forgot what I was going to say here. With me. Oh yeah, with There's Nothing Left to Lose. Was vinyl available back then, or was or 99 was
I don't think so.
Already transitioned to CDs.
I mean, the transition. I don't know if the transition back was starting. I don't think it was starting to happen yet. I think that was still one of those albums that did not originally get a vinyl release. I don't remember it starting to happen until, like around 2002, maybe. Am I frozen or are you frozen?
No. Neither one of us. We're just boring.
Your video is frozen for me. So,
maybe it froze for a second.
I think vinyl started coming back. I started noticing it like around the time where it was like the Hives and the Vines and like Queens of the Stone Age with Songs for the Deaf. I think I saw that on vinyl when it was new. But I don't think that this album had a vinyl release originally.
Another band that Grohl played with was Stones of Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah. You ever see the video for No One Knows?
Yes. I almost picked that album. But I think that album, I think it came out in 2002. So I was starting college. I was a freshman in college at that point. So I was like, I just missed it.
That's a really good one too.
That one almost, that was very influential for me.
And talk about a funny video for No One Knows. Great one.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so you know what? You got to go do your show tonight.
Yeah, I have a show.
And this hour flew by, man. It was great hanging with you. Yeah,
this was good. I'm glad I didn't pick something that you hate, even though it's not in your top 10 or whatever. I'm glad we can.
Now, well, I think by now you have kind of an idea what my musical tastes are.
There's a lot of overlap with us, but there's some
me
of it.
And you?
Yeah.
In what universe is there overlap between me and you?
You like the Beatles?
Yes, love the Beatles.
All right. There you go. Let's start.
Okay, so we could agree on the Beatles. But that's like saying you
punk
like
rock. Yeah. I feel like you like early punk Ramones and stuff, Clash, right? I mean, you like that stuff. I don't know if I'm frozen or he's frozen. So, okay.
Okay.
It was you. I thought it was me for a second, so I didn't say anything.
It did freeze. We just were almost made it through without a technicality. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Dustin Vinyl. Next week we'll be back with the whole crew.
Actually, I won't be around next week. I'll be at the Terragram Ballroom, probably loading in and doing sound check and all that for the show.
Well, listen, check out Anthony in LA. Check out Anthony's CDs. That's right now. I will be here, and Dustin will be here, and hopefully Adam will be here. And those of you that are out in LA, go see Anthony Kapfer. Where's Dustin? Dustin is in Vegas.
I think he'll be in Vegas. Yeah.
He's in Vegas now, right?
Maybe he's there now. He'll be there next week, I think.
If you want, you can, guys, what you should do, go on social media. It's very easy to find. You put in Dustin Chafin. Dustin Chafin is on the road. He headlines. He performs with guys like Nate Bargatze and TJ Miller and my God, he's got guys all over the place. So check him out. Me, if you're ever in New York, check out a Jeffrey Paul show, or I'll be at the Connecticut, folks. I'll be at the Hartford Funny Bone at the end of the month. You can catch me there. And
nice.
Maybe next time I'll tell my story about how I performed at what they do, a nudist colony.
The nudist? You did? Oh yeah, you told me about it.
I told you about that. Okay, guys. This has been fun, man. I really did have a good time. I'm losing it now. I don't know, Anthony, you're not in New York right now. It is like 97 degrees and humid in New York.
Ooh.
It's gross. It stinks. I hate hot weather.
It.
And this was the day I chose to close my pool. So I don't make good decisions.
Open that baby
either.
up.
I know. It's all cold showers for me for the rest of the month. All right, guys. Yeah, for Anthony Kapfer and myself, we'll catch you next week on Dustin's Vinyl. Take care, everybody. Bye, Jay.
Later.